What's going on, everybody? My name is Erik Kristopher Myers. I'm the writer and director of the independent films Roulette and Butterfly Kisses, as well as a contributor for Ain't It Cool News, where I write on the subjects of genre theory and franchise history. And on the subject of franchise, very few film series are nearer and dearer to my heart than the Nightmare on Elm Street series, which is what makes it so very cool that I have the opportunity here tonight to speak to key cast and crew from several of the films. And they are here to talk about their Stop the Nightmare campaign, which is designed to encourage fans new and old to do their part in preventing the spread of COVID-19.
Stop the nightmare.
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 Stay home.
Save lives.
So thank you all for being here. This is seriously incredibly nerdy for a diehard Fred head like myself. I revisit this franchise at least once a year. As I said, I'm also a Just the 10 of Us fan who's waiting for the DVD and Blu-ray release of that series.
Us too, right, Heather?
Yeah. Hey, keep waiting. Don't hold your
One
breath.
day. One day.
I had a friend on Facebook who had bootleg copies of the series.
Yes, we all have a bootleg set.
Yes.
Lucky us.
Dan Gunzelman's the one who has it on 3/4 perfect
I
prime. never
don't.
popped.
I'm such a goody two-shoe, I guess. Oh, well.
Well, let's talk about this because this is an incredibly cool opportunity for myself and for all the other fans out there who found it so very satisfying to see you all unite with a purpose, much as your characters do in the films themselves. And which kind of makes your current Stop the Nightmare campaign kind of meta in a way that the Wes Craven of Elm Street 7 would really appreciate. And so with that said, where did this begin? I know that Lisa, you sort of initiated the process. Tell
Lisa
me
Wilcox
how it came to you.
Lisa.
I just had to do something. And of course, for all of us, our calendars were completely wiped clean. Okay. Movies, conventions, everything. And I've just moved to a new state and I have nothing. You know, my 000 year is now 0. Very, very upsetting. But I literally just was like midnight and I just started singing the Freddy jingle. Doesn't everyone do that around midnight on a Tuesday night? and I was very much enjoying some very fun YouTube things because at that early stage we were like, oh, who's the guy who said my Corona instead of my Sharona? My Corona. Oh my God.
That was my jam.
That one was so funny. So this was rolling around in my brain and I started singing the Freddy jingle and I just grabbed a piece of paper literally and started writing lyrics to change, just change lyrics. And then I reached out to you guys, right? And then I worked out to Ernesto and James. And they're like, what do you think of this idea? They're like, oh my God, this is awesome. We can do the skits. We'll do them up here. And we did some changing. James, I know you changed that. You changed that line because I was like, see your therapist. You changed it to Zoom your therapist.
That's so good.
Very
Smart.
good.
That's
So
good.
anyway, we tweaked some stuff and then I don't know how Ernesto knew somebody who could record me again 6 feet away. Of course, when you're recording in a sound studio, you're 10 feet away. You know what I mean? And clean hands and all. And from Chicago to Nevada to Los Angeles, you know, Heather and you guys were all on board with it. And somehow between 3 states and this idea, it came to be, which thank you so much, you guys, for really being on board. And I invited a lot of other people, but they had other commitments or whatever, you know, but anyway, you guys are heart.
Lisa was our agent, producer, manager. There were several opportunities going down at the same time simultaneously. And we were getting on Andras, me, Brooke, Bundy, Bundy, hopping on to all these different calls of this work that she was generating in the middle of COVID. And I just thought, you know what, there's something about her spirit that this project came together because she was tooling on so many projects at once that something was going to hit, and many more is going to hit after this, let me tell you. So she's tooling, she's like churning the
amazing
now. So
thank you, Joy. My brain does not stop working. It just keeps doing these things, you know, and anyway, it came about and it's been getting, you know, a lot of attention, which I'm just so happy about, because it's not a PSA. First, I was like, what does PSA stand for? Oh, public service announcement. Okay. I don't know.
We've all learned a lot about.
But it's not like, oh, so humble, the PSA will. You know, it was more like I wanted to be edgy, I wanted to be entertaining, and I wanted to have a point that was something fun to, you know, absorb, you know. And of course, it dawned on me as I'm writing that night, oh, stop the nightmare. Duh. You know,
It was great.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
Amazing. I think out of, you know, as the PSAs all started and all of the stars started doing them, and obviously they were very serious. It was a very serious time, right?
Which I don't discount at all. I really don't.
No, but at the same time, as an actor, and not that I'm a big, huge celebrity like some of the people that were doing them, but it's also like you kind of go, why am I going to listen to them as they, you know, sit in their mansion and have all their money?
Right.
You really kind of go, it's not fair. And when you're PSA, I was so honored to be a part of it that you asked all of us, because you asked all of us like you always do, like everybody, this whole Nightmare franchise does. But it was so awesome. It wasn't like sitting back in our posh houses and saying, just
hey, I'm on food stamps,
swimming in our indoor pool.
So,
it was awesome. And it was a really probably the best. And if had I not been a part of it at all, it was probably the best PSA I think that's out there. It is, because it's funny, it's clever, it's telling you to stay home and be safe, but it's not doing it it's doing it in such a clever, cool way. I love it.
Well,
I love the Zoom part with all the monsters on the screen, because we talked about that. Originally, it was going to be all of us like on the screen, like, but then it's like, no, we're not the no, it was the monsters. I mean, you know, I have to give so much credit to James and Ernesto for sure for their creativity and actually filming within the proper guidelines with those little kid girls and the jump rope. I mean, what the heck? I mean, they put this together like in 2 weeks. How long was it, James? 5 days.
Started the idea to finish of it. It was 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah.
We started spitballing through Zoom. Funny enough, this should be like a public service announcement for Zoom. Like Zoom.
Right? It's true.
No, but I think we started spitballing. We started talking about the lyrics and where it was going to go, and from start to finish, it was like 3 weeks. And you know, it was an earlier time when we didn't exactly know what was going to happen with the shutdowns, and I think we said this before even the
this is
shutdown
definitely
happened. We started filming before anything really like detrimental to our economy was really going on, and it progressively just got as we were filming and editing, which didn't take too much time at all. And believe me, I'm not any sort of great film editor, but I've produced music for 15 years now, and it was kind of similar along the lines. But I've never been able to just work with such professionals that we just plugged and play, and it worked out really well. But each day that passed during this entire project to when we got on Bloody Disgusting and had, you know, things start to get exponentially more shared and whatnot. It felt like it was 6 weeks, but it was, in reality, it was 11 days. And that's kind of what everybody's going through with COVID right now. It's almost like time stopped.
Yeah.
So that's just where I feel
Interesting.
we're at right now, because Ernesto and I were just trying to do something fun with you that would be a creative outlet for us. And we really started to see like the dangerous things, not dangerous, what am I trying to say? Just, we started seeing the real effects of what this virus has
To
done
individuals, to people,
to
right?
individuals.
And businesses, like as each day progressed, I would imagine, right?
As each day progressed, things got worse and worse and worse. By the time we released
The
this
fear.
thing,
The fear.
it was a different world we were living in from when we started it. So it's like, yeah, it only took a few days to do it, but it was like, it felt like the longest time in my entire life that I've ever lived, because this is such a weird freaking time that we're living in right now. And Ernesto,
that none of us have
it.
experienced anything like, really.
No,
No.
I think it's obvious that the cast are all, you know, you're all very tightly knit. You all have a very close relationship. James, Ernesto, what was your connection to the franchise? You mentioned that you were huge fans.
Oh my God.
What brought you into this project specifically?
You want to see my tattoo? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want?
Yes.
We're not.
We want to see it.
Tattoo. Show the tattoo.
I have a Freddy tattoo. I have many horror tattoos, but my Freddy tattoo hurt the worst. It gave me bad nightmares. I had the opportunity to meet Robert. I met Robert and Lisa last year at what was that, in Flashback Weekend with Ernesto, and Ernesto knows Robert and Lisa very well. And you know, I just feel that with what I'm doing right now with you guys, it just takes it all back. My dad used to play me the Dream Warriors when I was, you know, 4 years old. I was born in '84, so unfortunately I didn't get to see Nightmare when it opened, the original.
Wow.
But I have to say that Nightmare was everything to me growing up, and I never lost track of that. And my wife still gives me shit for it. She's like, dude, can we, you know, calm it down with like Nightmare on Elm Street stuff in your music studio, which is also our basement? I'm like, nah.
Whatever Lisa wants us to do, we just sign up immediately because we know it's going to be cool.
When Lisa called me to get me involved, she was like, I've got this idea. I just thought of these new words for the Nightmare jingle, and I'm wondering if you would like sing it with me or be involved. And I was like, sure. I said, but, you know, you really should like get everybody involved, Lisa. And she's like, oh, nobody would want to do it. Everyone's so freaked out. Nobody wants to like take extra time. I'm like, are you kidding, Lisa? I go, this is
yeah.
such a good idea. This is such a big idea.
Thank you.
Is like,
Yes.
Thank
we
you.
move forward, and it's really clear that like so much of this really upsetting part of this disease, which isn't just the disease part, but is the way that people are, we were talking about earlier, stigmatizing others who might feel more secure being more careful, and other people who want to be who have a bigger tolerance for risk, and they're going to act differently. What I think this PSA is just so simple, because we just are really emphasizing that the 3 things you can do to help prevent you from getting COVID-19 or from spreading it is to wear a mask, to, you know, stay 6 feet apart. It's so easy. And then also to look out for your mental health, right? Like Zoom your therapist, and
which is
like,
your friends, and like
verse, each little verse is so simple. And
well, I remember Heather and I having that conversation about the therapist thing, but it was like, it's like your therapist now is your dog, your mom, your dad, your friends, your neighbors. Those are our therapy, to be human, be as social as we can.
I made the comment to Lisa, like, I said,
Yes.
Lisa, I said, there's so many people in America who don't have the luxury of seeing a therapist. Like that is something that, especially when the economy is bad, it's one of the first.
It's elitist thing.
Yeah, you would just say like, oh, she's gonna go see her therapist, you know. But Lisa made this great point. Like, every person who can be comforting to you, or like your animal or your dog, they are your therapist. And I'm like, yes. And so then I was on board with the line. I was originally like, I don't like that line, Lisa. You got to.
I remember when I was like, but it's anyway. Mwah.
It was great.
I'm so glad that you embraced the concept overall, and thank you so much, Heather. Really, all of you guys for getting it. You know what I mean? I appreciate it.
And it's getting worse in some places still, and it's places that really love Nightmare on Elm Street, and I really hope that those places, let's say Arkansas, or places that are in the middle of the country where I'm from, Oklahoma, like they're now just seeing their spike, right? Yeah. They're just now, it's dawning on them. They don't have ICU beds in Alabama tonight,
right?
So
they've been told it's a hoax. They've been told that it's nothing to worry about.
So we can still, hopefully with our, people know us from these films, that maybe they'll listen and say, oh, we're not the deep state, like wasting ideas on them or something. Like, this is just really how we sincerely want people to take care of each other. And especially, like, I'm like Toy, I have 5, like all my parents and my husband's parents and a few step parents, and they're all alive. They're all over 80. They're all so
now my aunt and uncle are in Missouri, and they're in their 80s and whatever. But like you said, I think it's so simple and it's kind of charming and fun. You know what I mean? It's just, and it's so simple. It's really so simple. The rules to follow.
Simple.
This raises a really, really interesting question, and that is that at least in the circles that I frequent, everyone has responded to your viral campaign very, very positively. But by that same token, have any of you experienced any pushback from fans? I know that Andras is very, very outspoken on Facebook, and I enjoy that very much. Is anybody dealing with, negative response from fans who feel betrayed that, Nancy Thompson or Alice the Dream Master or any of the rest of you are advocating for a perceived, violation of personal freedom?
I can't say that I have, but I will say before this concept entered my head and this whole virus came out, I'm like, what the hell? It's a virus. Thousands of people die from the flu virus. Thousands of people get a cold every year. What the hell? And I remember putting something on Instagram, actually, and someone was like so mad at me. You're just you. And this is the very, 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 very beginning. Okay. And that person was so angry with me. So, but since the progress of the virus and what we need to do, which is so simple, wear a mask, wash your hands, use your sanitizer. There you go. It's changed. So I can't say I've had any negativity so far. What about you guys?
Done.
No, I haven't had any.
Yeah. I gotta say, I always have negative. No, I'm joking.
What?
No, but it's interesting because I post. I'm an activist for equal rights, humane treatment, and especially within my African American community. So everything that's going on there, there's a lot of death at the hands of the lynching, murder, whatever, from authorities, not authorities, or neighbors. So I have always, in my community, spoken up, but because I'm part of the Nightmare franchise, which reaches Mid-America, I always have pushback. They seem to be a little bit more respectful because they're like, wait a second, we like you, but you're coming against something of our own ethos that doesn't match up with what we do. But Andras, I have to push it over to him because I'm sure that he gets a pushback on levels that I can't even imagine.
But not about this. I mean, I think, my travails on Facebook have not been aided or abetted in any way by this. This has been all positive. Yeah. I think this is one of the more positive things that happens on my Facebook. So yeah,
Well, Andras, I've found it very refreshing just how outspoken you are when you call it as you see it, and that's something I respect very, very much. And I realize that when you are part of a legacy franchise, there can be the temptation to be safe about things. You don't want to alienate your fan base. You don't want to ostracize.
Yeah, no, I'm already part of a legacy franchise. It's called My Family. And my family had to deal with the McCarthy hearings and was called. My grandfather was a scientist who was called before the hearings, and that shadow hung over my family my whole life before I even knew it existed. So it's just so that's the legacy that drives me to be. And I'll be honest, since you bring it up, I am struggling with the fact that no matter what your good intentions are on Facebook, I've just come to feel like my good intentions have been weaponized by the medium, and I'm trying to figure out a way to continue to be myself and honor that legacy franchise that I'm a part of, but not be used as a tool to terrorize and harass my neighbors, because that's who Facebook shows it to, and it's. Yeah, so since you brought it up, anyway, I don't want to make it about this or about me, but yeah, since you brought it up, that's what I'm struggling with. So I'm glad that I put stuff out there, and I'm glad you said that, but I also, I wish we had a real public square and not these algorithms.
But can I just bring this up? My favorite Saved by the Bell episode, you were Deke. And that was the best Saved by the Bell episode. Because you gave Zach Morris the motherfucking business, dude.
He was great. He was a very talented kid, that kid. He could have been, that should have gone a different way. But no, that was I had people ask me what my favorite thing I ever did was, and I had more fun doing that than anything. I got to act with Haley Mills and say the line, "Who do you think taught me not to read?" That was
that fucking leather jacket, bro. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
And let's get it straight. That was not Saved by the Bell. That was Good Morning, Mr.
You're right.
Bliss.
Good morning, Bliss.
Thank you, Eric. You beat me to the punch there. You beat me to the punch.
Well, now, if I can jump in here, on April 22nd, my partner, his mother passed away. Simultaneously, my uncle, who's 80 and has dementia, was being rushed to the Mount Sinai in New York City.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So all this was converging at the same time. And now I have been locked away since, Lisa, I saw you when you came and visited with us back in what was that, April
March?
or March? I have not left the house since then. And then all of a sudden his mother gets sick. I go to the Valley.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know Rod's mom died.
She passed.
Oh,
the next day I had to get on. I know, but we've been good. But so the next day I had to get on an airplane because my uncle has no kids and never been married. And I'm like his charge. I have been his charge for a couple of years now, taking care of his doctors. And so I literally was like, okay, God, I have to go. We got him out of the hospital. I talked to the doctor. We did this whole mad rush. But I went to the airport with my mask, gloves, goggles. Like, I don't wear glasses. I wear goggles and a hat. And basically, I was the only one in the airport. And I'm walking on the people mover with, like, you know, Mariah Carey singing in the background. It's so crazy. It's just really creepy because I was the only person. There was 3 people on the airplane. But anyway, so that was my big out, and I was scared to go out. So when I got to New York, everyone's covered in rain gear, rain boots, gloves, masks, glasses, hats, you name it. They're serious. When I got back to LA, they were just kind of lifting things, and everyone was like, "Oh no, I'm fine." And I came in with all the, you know, I'm like, "What's going on, everyone? I just came from New York," and they're like, "No, it's fine. Everything's lifting." So I'm still really overprotected. But
better safe than sorry.
I find that everyone around me isn't, and I wish everyone would go to New York because it's just a common courtesy at this point. Like, everyone is dressed to the T's to not just protect themselves, but everyone else. So there's my Yeah.
My husband almost got in a fight in Target.
What?
Ooh, pray tell, Brookie.
I know. I'm like, there was a guy, big burly dude, tough dude. My husband's a tough guy too, but
Yes, he is.
He's pretty low key. So he goes, hey, buddy, he had a mask by his ear. So he said, hey, buddy, you got to put your mask on. And he's like, oh, do you work here? He goes, no, I don't. He goes, mind your own fucking business.
Jesus.
And he said,
oh, Brian must have had a field day, man.
like, oh, really? He goes, I'm ready to, I'm right here. I'm not going to mind my own fucking business. You made it my business by coming out in public without a mask. And so basically, I'm right here. He goes, oh, I'm not going to get fight at Target. He goes, I will.
I'm not somebody who enjoys talking about politics, but I am somebody who's going through all this shit just like everybody else. And I've noticed a lot of things about people from different sides of the spectrum of a bipartisan party or bipartisan government that I'm learning about people that I either hate or I love. And that's what I was trying to say is this entire thing, this entire disease, this entire terrible shit that we're going through. It's supercharged politically, and it's making everybody fucking crazy. Everybody's fucking crazy right now.
We are living in history, and there have been so many examples of major incidents in world history where it's really easy to sit back and say, well, if I had lived during fill in the blank, I would have done this differently, and I would have done that. I would have changed the world because I'm smarter than that. Hindsight's a killer in that respect, because now here we are living in history, and there are so many people who have learned nothing except the idea that human lives exist to support the economy rather than the economy exists to support human lives. And it's not a time now to be polite. It's not a time to, at least insofar as when you hear an idea or you see an action, being silent, that is the weapon of the enemy. That is the wrong approach right now. We need to speak when we see something that is wrong. We need to call it out, but at the same time, we do need to do what all of you have done, which is to try to inspire and hopefully sway people to do the right thing for the right reason, and just call out the bullshit then as we see it along the way.
I got a little discouraged last weekend, frankly, where I live. It was nuts, and it was really hard to watch.
At the beach? At the beach?
Really, really crowded, and there was a bunch of, actually a lot of people protesting the lockdown were on the road, like with their flags and like blocking traffic. I mean, it was so counterproductive, and I just didn't really understand it. But going forward, I want people to understand that there's no agenda except like for everybody to stay alive. That's such a simple agenda, right? I mean,
and also
it's the opposite of a horror movie.
Love thy neighbor like thyself. So if I'm going to take care of me, and we are these Christians or whatever that we care humanity, then I'm going to love on you and care for you the way that I care for me. Do not lambaste me for that. And I just care.
Yeah, we all do. We really all care. I mean, and Lisa, when she called me from her poolside in Vegas with her sunglasses and her hat on, and she just looked like she was having the best time. The thing is that we got really serious really fast. Like, it's really hard to do quarantining, even though Lisa looks great doing it. All of us do.
All need a haircut, bad.
So great. And Lisa's roommate, Lisa, how old is your roommate? She's like 74, right?
82.
She's 82.
Wow. She's a dear friend. We had toe bites together, and I came for a while, and then she broke her foot, and I'm still here.
I know.
Why you wear your mask?
82.
Andras, pull your mask down.
Let's see your face for a second.
Just for a second.
He's afraid to be alone with himself.
Sexy beer.
Well, and
This is my new character.
Bobo the clown.
And
no,
aside from what Eric said about the
I'm the fuzzy dog.
the fact that elderly people are more affected, it seems, from this disease, really, I think what Toy said earlier is that's a heavy duty like concern of so many people. But a lot of the young people who do feel invincible, I just feel like they just need to be worked on just a little bit, just gently push them into understanding, you know. And it's not that they're intentionally being insensitive, maybe some are, but I don't think most of them are. Just feel like they don't feel like it's touched them. And maybe our PSA will say, oh, these people who, we admire or we love, you know, they're telling me to do something that doesn't seem natural or doesn't seem like fun. And
well, because it's so contagious. It's just so contagious. So, you know.
And you have to tell people sometimes like thousands of times before it sinks in. Like if you have kids, like you have to tell them 1 billion times, you know, not to run, you know, with the knife in their hand before they finally like get it, you know, and they finally
don't run with scissors.
Don't
run with those scissors.
You know, mix that with the whole COVID, because I think I got sick early on in New York City. I was there. I go once a month to New York, and in January I was there. I had just started taking the Chantix, but I had a fever in the hotel. I couldn't get out of the hotel for 4 days. My aunt had to come up and get me. And in that period of time, I dreamt of some wicked shit that I don't know if it was a dream or if it was like a precursor to what was to come.
Did you have
things had come to
Do you think you had COVID?
I do.
I think COVID's been here for a while.
Yeah.
I knew friends. I knew friends in November who were
I was
really sick.
Yeah, I was violently ill to the point where I had walked, and I was fine. I was in New York. I was doing my normal thing. I had been there in December. I left. I came back in January. I wasn't feeling well. Was going about my business. I hit a wall. I had a fever that I couldn't break for 5 days. Whoa, Brooke, iPad. What's going on over there, darling?
Uh-oh. Sorry, hang on.
And basically,
well, you know, and I've heard this story from a number of people. Brooke, Bundy, what do you know about? What do you think? You said
I think that really, I know people in November that were really, really sick, like 3 weeks sick, couldn't move sick. So I think it's been here, and I think we have multiple strains, which is one of the things that's confusing people. It's not just the actors, it's agents and their assistants and makeup artists and people that are do props. And, you know, one of the things that was so weird kind of in the beginning, because I love the news. I always watch the news. And I noticed that several of our anchors weren't as hot looking.
Oh, interesting.
Brian Williams.
Because you heard it first.
Because they're doing their own makeup. So it's like, so it wasn't blended. It was sort of put on.
So the first 2 weeks, everyone looked terrible. And then pretty much
Joker products. You can't put anything on.
Well, I actually did a commercial about 2 weeks ago here in Nevada. And it was very interesting to be on set, and all the crew isn't small. We're in this beautiful modern house, and all the crew is wearing masks. And of course, in the call sheet, it's like 6 feet away, and bring your mask. And to the actors, so I'm working with a male actor, and we're like the husband and wife in silk pajamas, whatever. And well, you know, it's Vegas. So and it's for some supplement for men, so they don't have to pee all night or whatever. I don't know, whatever. So, but it was really interesting because I missed that. What was that?
Nick.
What was that?
Nick was rubbing his eye like, oh shit.
So it was weird. And of course, we're looking at each other. Well, we're going to be in bed together. We're just sitting. There's no love making, nothing like that. He's up on the edge of the bed, and I, keep waking up, and I'm like freaking annoyed. And it's like, what the hell? take that damn supplement. So, but
where does the COVID story come in?
And it was perfect. But literally it said, come makeup and hair ready. There was a makeup artist. She's completely over, and she's got the spray alcohol going like crazy. And then the director asked us to hold hands. I don't have a problem holding someone's hand. My hands are clean. I've washed them. I'm going to touch your hand. Great. And then the makeup artist is going to spritz the hell out of our hands. It's all good. I mean, it's kind of like what I'm sad about is everyone's so terrified of each other. So if we just do the proper precautions, we're all fine. I make a purpose. So when I got my nails done 2 weeks ago, believe me, I was so happy. I'm talking to the gal that's literally 6 seats away, right? And she mumbles something about it getting her hair done. I'm like, where's that? Where are you getting the hair done? Oh, that's so cool. You know, I'm making a point to talk to people, individuals in the store, to be like, hey, we don't have to be afraid of each other. We can still be neighborly. When I moved to Nevada, everyone was so neighborly, and then everybody became terrified of everybody, like everyone is. Anyway, I'm just trying to encourage. Really important to me. My message is talk to everybody. Smile, or just do smile face, even if you have a mask on. Hey, how you doing? Thank you. You know, use your body language. We don't need to be afraid of each other.
Thank you is the most important thing. To thank the grocery store workers,
yes.
The drivers, the postman. You know,
But say hi to your neighbor in line next to you and go, oh my God, where the hell did you find that toilet paper?
Yeah, right.
Well, but here's the thing. I mean, now no one wants to speak to one another. Everyone wants to stay on opposite sides
it's
of the room.
terrible.
Even going down the hallway, it's like saying hello or waving.
This breaks my heart.
You know, everyone has to share a punch pad to get in, or doorknobs or things like that. And then,
that scares me. That's the biggest thing. Like, I have my gloves and I still wear them, but in New York, I learned how to use my sanitizer on top of them before even throwing them out.
Sure.
And use them as much as possible, but they're still my hands, so I can't touch and do things. But at the end of the day, I still feel kind of like, I don't know, I couldn't get my nails done. I'm kudos to you ladies that can get your nails and your hair and all that done.
No, I'm telling you, Toy, at least here, they're wearing a vest and they're wearing a full clear acrylic shield. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So, and this is a smile face sign on the door. Please wear a mask. And if you don't have one, we'll provide one for you. I wore my mask. And then we ladies were sitting 6 seats apart, well over 6 feet apart. But and I mean, my hands are in freaking soap, and so are hers. You know, I mean, you know. So I felt completely comfortable. But I understand, again, I've been in LA, I've been here, Toy, you've been in New York, and every community is a little bit different as far as they're feeling about germs.
You know, it's hard because you kind of understand, everybody's story. Like, my mom lives in New York City, and so she's very much paranoid. She's 83, and she's got congestive heart failure and blah, 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 blah. So she's got a lot of issues. When you're coming from a city that was so massively infected, and you really do have a different perspective, and when people are dying, your friends are dying, it's terrifying. And at the same time, when you're in a different city, like we're in California or Los Angeles, which is, you know, more liberal, so we're definitely, I wear my mask and all of that stuff and try to be respectful. It's trying to find that balance of really being protected and protecting other people, being smart, but not being paranoid. And I agree with Lisa. Like, I'm talking anyhow, so I'm talking to everybody in the store. I'm like, I'm smiling underneath here, I promise. You know, it's trying to find the balance. And as we go further and further,
I mean, they can't see my mouth anymore. They can't see my mouth, but I can speak out of my mouth and say, "Oh, what did you say? I need a hairdresser here." And and she's like, "Oh, yes, and I have a card." She gave me her card, the card for the hairdresser. It was like,
I was at the bank today.
People, you know,
I was at the bank today, and I was at the teller, and there was another teller next to me, and a guy walks up, and he's got, you know, the bandit mask, and he goes, "You know, I feel really funny about coming to the bank with a mask on." I was like dying. had like the medical mask, but he had like
Give
the
me my
total
money.
bandana. It's like touche.
Well, and interesting, I don't know about you guys, but here it doesn't even, they're not even calling it a mask. They're calling it a face covering. So you can just wear a scarf. You can wear a scarf.
Yeah.
My first mask was
PPE.
one of those whatever 95
PPE,
things with
right.
a pool, you know?
Yeah.
No, here it's just a face covering. So people are wearing scarves and, you know, and that kind of
You
thing.
know,
So-
I think it's interesting because, you know, we learn from our mistakes and our history is so important, right? And so when they talk about this 1918 flu and how it happened and then it came back on the second wave, for me, I'm very concerned about that second wave.
We still have a couple weeks in quarantine. At least
Right?
I'm going to stay inside for a little while longer. But
Well, I'm going to take
do
this.
part 2.
I'm going to take this opportunity to throw my hat in the ring. If there is anything as a filmmaker I can do to in any way participate, help edit, or anything else like that without stepping on anyone else's toes, consider me a resource, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
course.
yes.
If there is a second round, if you do another advert as we enter phase 2, Nick, is there something that you can dream up, some kind of crazy special effect that you can do from home?
Oh, how cool.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
He's like, yeah.
I already wrote another a second version. Okay. I already written the second.
Lisa already
Yes.
for a
And each day news changes, right? But I did write. I run it by Ernesto and James, so we'll see.
Okay.
But Nick is like brilliant. I just went to his house the other day. We were very careful and stuff. Man, this guy can make anything. You should see his tiki bar outside. I'm like, what?
Nick is amazing. Yeah.
Did you
No,
say Nick?
there's a project that Nick is working with me that I will reveal in the near future. That is, what is it? I can't reveal it right now.
Man,
but-
you and your secretive. This is the second time you've done this to us, Ernesto.
Brooke, being that you have a daughter who was a participant in a competing franchise,
Yes.
was there ever any thought about Violet making her way into, the universe is crossed over with Freddy versus Jason. Was there ever any thought of incorporating her in this, being that we do see appearances from other, psychopaths in this particular advert?
You mean to put her into this, or to put her into to try to get her a part in a Freddy movie?
Specifically in this campaign of
Or
yours.
this? Actually, it hadn't crossed my mind, but I'm sure she'd be willing to do this and really have fun. She's got so much information, and she's so well spoken. And she, honestly, Andras, she puts you to shame, honey.
No shame.
I'm telling you.
No
She is
shame.
really outspoken.
It's an ally. No shame.
This campaign of yours was and is very meaningful to me. And the reason for it is, aside from the fact that I like to consider I'm a halfway decent human being who wants to see people come out of this well, it's real fashionable for guys right now to have pandemic beards. And mine is definitely getting a bit out of control. And it's there is a personal reason for that, and that is that I have a 7, almost 8-year-old son who I've been separated from for nearly 10 weeks. He is a Kawasaki syndrome survivor, which means he's very much at risk. And his mother has a very, very rare lung disease that she has battled with that also puts her at risk. So if there are 2 people in my life that I know right now who could conceivably come out of this compromised in one way or another, it's them. Now, fortunately, they are isolated right now, but I'm an essential worker. I work every day. And so I'm living alone in this house. And, the last time I put a razor to my face was the last time I saw my son. And the beard, it's my mask in a lot of ways. It's inconvenient. It's a real pain. It's, like I said, out of control. Eating, drinking, I got to drink with a straw. It's messy. And you know what? It's I don't look as good to the ladies, but regardless, when I hear people complain about how difficult it is for them to wear a mask when they go out shopping or be around other people or just refusing to do it, I start saying, for me, that means 10 weeks could be 10 months. The longer the people stall, the less willing they are to just think about other people, then longer this whole thing is going to be. And so speaking for myself, I'm realizing the next time I see my boy and I'm able to hug him, that means that it's safe enough for masks to come off, which means it's safe enough for the beard to come off. And that might be dark and weird and poetic, but it's been what's gotten me through this period of separation. And so
I hope you shave your beard real soon.
Thank you. And so what you all are doing, speaking as a huge lifelong Elm Street fan, but also as a father who just is going crazy, not being able to see his boy, and all the people saying COVID's not real, I don't need to wear a mask, my liberties are being infringed upon. What you're doing is very, very meaningful and very, very important. And I'm glad that you're taking the platform that you have with a dedicated fan base to reach people that perhaps would not be reached in other ways.
Stop the nightmare.
Stop the nightmare. Stop the nightmare.
Stop the nightmare.
Stop the nightmare.
Stop the nightmare.
Stop the nightmare. Stop the nightmare.
Stay home.
Save lives.